Real excited to be here, B-Sides Galway. Usually I always like to ask who's, attending for the first time, but I would hope everybody would be raising their hand for the first, for that question. So, this digital doppelganger, looking at deepfakes, usually when this gets done, there's somebody who always introduces me, and, introductions vary. Some people read your bio, other times they just kind of make some things up. I figured if I'm doing deepfakes, I'm going to make my own.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Honan, and I'm very excited to welcome you all to B-Sides Galway. Additionally, I'm glad to have James McQuiggan, my good friend and cybersecurity colleague, here today as he shares his presentation about synthetic media or deepfakes to all of you amazing folks. James is going to share insights and best practices to detect deepfakes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy James's presentation, as he will probably drop in some bad jokes too. Take it away, James.
Thanks, Brian. I think I've met Brian once in my life. I have a couple of colleagues who are friends with him. So I texted them last night. I said, "Do you think Brian would be upset if I deepfaked him?" He goes, "No, he's a good guy. Go ahead." And I'm like, yeah, that's scary in itself. Thinking, no, we'll see what happens. And, there was a glimmer of hope that, maybe Brian will actually show up. But no, I'll have to go out to Dublin for that one. So, synthetic media, or deepfakes as we're generally recognizing them. They're social engineering our users, family, friends to attack organizations, steal data, money, as we heard this morning from Bob with regards to why cyber criminals operate. Why do they do what they do? For me, the answer is simple. They want to make money, plain and simple. And so they're going to do anything and everything they can to be able to get that money, get that, or even that ego that goes along with it. Now, when we start looking at synthetic media, and as you can tell I'm from the U.S., this is a global issue. This isn't just stuff that happens in the U.S. Here we have an artificial synthetic image that was created with Bono and Bob Geldof holding Israeli flags, showing their support for Israel during the whole conflict that's been going on. This has been artificially generated. Again, with cyber criminals, when it comes to social engineering, all that comes down to getting people to respond, have a knee-jerk reaction, and emotions playing a huge part of it. Some folks may remember, or maybe you were there with the Halloween issue, where there was supposed to be this big, huge parade downtown, and it was all fake. And I thought that was it blew my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, so many people went down for this. All because of a ad from Spirit Halloween, which ironically is an American company in the state of Illinois. But they had an ad and it kicked through and it just blew up and people, responded to that. Another Irishman, Pierce Brosnan. If my wife wasn't married to me, she'd probably try to be married to him. But he was the victim in this case where, unfortunately, you had an art curator who owned an art gallery, heard from Pierce and his agent saying, "Hey, we'd like to have Pierce's artwork displayed in your gallery." She did a video call with Pierce, and this is for the screenshot from it. She basically was selling the tickets for 500 British pounds each, generated about 20,000 pounds. And when she went public with it and started advertising it really on a bigger scale, Pierce's actual agent got wind of it. They reached out and said, "Yeah, no, this is not us. You've been, unfortunately scammed." And she was out about 20,000 British pounds because of it. So we're seeing this happening all around. So the question now becomes, how do we be able to defend ourselves against synthetic media? Again, for our friends, our family, our users, and within our organization. All right, so my name is James McQuiggan. I'm a security awareness advocate with KnowBe4. Essentially, that responsibility allows me to go around to events like these, conferences, provide thought leadership in all aspects of cybersecurity, social engineering, dealing with phishing and all that other good human risk management. I've been with KnowBe4 now about 5 years. Prior to that, I spent about 18 years working for a little German company called Siemens. I had the pleasure of coming over to Germany for a lot of those trips. I just spent the last 8 years being the chapter president for the ISE2 Central Florida chapter. So I certainly respect and understand what Tom and Scott are going through putting on this event for all of us. So know before real quick, this is the fun marketing slide. Like what Bob said, marketing gives you the slide. So yay, there's know before. We do security awareness training, phishing simulations. For me, one of the biggest things is what our mission is the fact of helping organizations deal with social engineering. For me, and what has been my personal mantra for the last 15 to 20 years, is the fact that I want to help people empower themselves and empower others to make those smarter security decisions every day. Because we're the smart ones already. We're seeing the different types of attacks and threats and everything going on, and we know what to look for in those phishing emails and when we have those different responses. But our family, our friends, the older generations, not so much overall. And so we want to make sure that they're educated, they're made aware. Now, essentially, what my job is to go around and talk with people about the importance of securing their dried grapes. Yeah, it's raising security awareness. They don't get any better, just letting you know now. All right. So the outcomes for the next 173 minutes, and I got about 375 slides. Yeah, that usually makes the heads pop up because they're like, whoa, hey, this was 45 minutes. It is. Because I know I stand between you all and lunch. So we'll get through this as quick as we can. We know synthetic media, it's quick and it's easy, and it's getting easier to use. Basically, we look back, I think back to the Jordan Peele deepfake video that he made of President Obama back in 2015, 16. That took a lot of manpower, a lot of computers, some sophisticated software. Nowadays, you can go onto a website, upload some images, upload some audio, and away you go, and you're off and running. Like you saw that he did with Brian. That video of Brian, I'm going to have him explain it later on how he did it, or how I did it. But basically, it took me a little longer because I had slower internet at the hotel last night. It took about a half an hour to make that video from start to realizing Brian all the way through to the end. I originally was going to do the Prime Minister, but the site blocked me because it recognized him as a celebrity. So we're going to look at understanding media and how to spot it, and then what we can do to defend and protect ourselves against the synthetic media. Now, when we look at the AI playbook for cyber criminals, synthetic media and identities is up at the top. Zero-click, RAG exploits, ASCII attacks, hallucinations, polymorphic, automated attacks, password cracking, data poisoning, prompt injection, malicious AI large language models, AI spear phishing, looking at agentic AI attacks, as we started to hear from Bob earlier today, and shadow AI. I could do a whole day and cover all these topics and still not get through with it. So we're just going to focus on synthetic media because that's kind of the big one where we're seeing a lot of it already. And essentially, using artificial intelligence, the aspect of large language models, natural language processing, and GAN models, generative adversarial networks. It's basically pitting AI against AI. And what's happening is you have a generator that's going through and creating that video content, that image, that audio, and then you have a discriminator AI that's going and trying to determine if it's authentic or not. It's the generator's trying to fool the other AI in creating the fake or synthetic media overall. So when we look at synthetic text, we've already been using synthetic text. That's ChatGPT, those large language models. Whether it's Gemini, Grok, Claude, which one you're using, an AI is learning based off of those models, based off the information that gets loaded. Now, for me, early on when this all kicked off, in May of 2022, it's almost 3 years ago, one of my favorite stories with relating to the downside, the biases of it, or the hallucinations of ChatGPT, was two lawyers in New York City decided to use ChatGPT to look up information relating to a case they were working on. Cool. All right. Well, they asked ChatGPT about any other cases similar to this one and gave it the information. ChatGPT comes back and goes, yep, here's 6 more The paralegals were all excited. They threw it in the brief. They ran it on over to the courthouse and said, look, there's been 6 other cases supporting our claim. And the judge looked at it and said, yeah, these do not exist. Where did you get this information? So they got sanctioned. They got their hand slapped. Now, I've been using this for the last couple of years as kind of one of my favorite stories, and was starting to think the last couple of months, okay, this story's getting a little old. I think everybody's heard it now. All right. Well, then in Australia, somebody did the same thing again. And this was last month. So people are still using ChatGPT, still falling victim to the hallucinations that we deal with it. But cyber criminals are using it to level up. I know Bob talked about it in his presentation, where cyber criminals now can write a phishing or spear phishing email in any language. And for years, the Estonians, the Japanese, they weren't targeted very much because the cyber criminals out there had a hard time with the language. Well, that all goes away now. You can write anything in ChatGPT, and it'll translate it to whatever language you want. We're seeing a lot more attacks originating from compromised accounts. They're not sending out links right away. They're building rapport. They're building that trust and then targeting you after that. And we're seeing a lot more of the phishing as a services capabilities are providing some type of AI capability in there. We're also seeing, we've known about malicious large language models certainly right after ChatGPT took off. I remember the summer of 2023 playing around with WarmGPT before they ended up shutting down because their product kept getting scammed by other scammers and cyber criminals. I mean, who'd have thunk? No honor among thieves. But we're seeing a variety of different large language models available for them to be able to use to write malicious code. They're not leveraging it for writing phishing emails. That went away very quickly. They're using it more now to create codes for themselves. We see synthetic images, generating of images. I mean, who doesn't love going into DALL-E or Mindjourney or using Static Fusion to generate images? But what if you could use it for social engineering attacks and scam somebody out of about $850,000? You probably think, yeah, no, I wouldn't. Who would fall for that? God bless the French woman that did, because she fell victim to it. She was reached by Brad Pitt's mom, basically saying, hey, Brad's really, has come across your profile, really likes you, and sends a picture. Then it's Brad Pitt reaching out, and he's been in hospital, and he's sending images to her and asking for money. Why Brad Pitt asks for money, I don't know, but conned out of $850, all through synthetic images. And some of them, you look at them and go, oh my God, that's really, really bad. And some of them are like, that's pretty good. I mean, they're getting better and better. Striking a little closer to home in the U.S., when we had the fires out in California and Los Angeles, this spread around. The Hollywood image, what cracks me up, and this got shared a lot. What cracks me up is the fact that it's spelt Hollywood with 2 Ds. I mean, it's a very emotional, very reaction-based type image that you would have here, but, come on, folks. So now we start getting into synthetic audio, looking at how we can leverage audio. And one of the big things early last year, was the whole Biden robocall, which, someone got a hold of Biden's audio, surprise, surprise, it's very easy to get, and created a robocall using 11 Labs, uploaded the audio. You only need about 30 seconds of audio for it to clone the voice. You can go up to about 5 minutes and use the more professional version, but just right out of the gate, you can use 11 Labs in 30 seconds and away you go. And there's a variety of different tools as well. And I'm thinking, okay, great. All right, that was last year. People are getting smarter. No, unfortunately, Thailand's prime minister was targeted by an AI phone scam as well. So they're not picking on one nation. They're going around to all of them that they can. Some other examples, we had a senior principal analyst over at LastPass get targeted through text messages and then an audio call from someone pretending to be the CEO. A little scarier, you had somebody at Palo Alto where they got a phone call from somebody saying that his daughter was in a car accident with him. She's really shaken up. And now she owes money to, pay for the tow truck and the damages and everything else. While that's going on, the Palo Alto employee is texting his wife, asking, hey, can you check on our daughter? Because she's off at college, make sure she's okay. And sure enough, she was at the college. This was a deep fake that they were trying to scam him out of. So, he was going out of band and verifying that everything was okay. Now, I don't know if anybody's had the wonderful experience yet of calling up, like hospitality chains where you call up and you get a human right away. It's none of the, press 1 for Gaelic, press 2 for Gaelic and off you go. Nowadays, they're using large language models, and essentially the call center software is synthesizing or generating audio, and you can have a conversation with them, and they'll direct you to wherever you need to go, whether you want to talk to somebody about reservations or you've got a question about your latest hotel bill. This essentially call center software or answering software, we kind of flipped on its head. A colleague of mine, Perry Carpenter, did it, and then I kind of followed him on it, but made my own. And you give it a prompt, you give it a voice, and so I snagged one from PlayHT, and the voice that I used is a good friend of mine, Jerry Ozier, or Dr. Gerald Ozier. He runs this, every day for you all, it would be from 2 to 3, from 1 to 2, here in Ireland. He does a daily cyber threat brief. And I had plenty of his audio, and I asked him, hey, I'm going to snag your audio. And what I was able to do was have him call me up and have this conversation. I'm going to play it for you just so you can hear what it sounds like.
Hello?
Hey, it's me. I need your help. I've been in a car accident, and now I'm being held by the police. I don't have my wallet on me, and I need to get a tow truck and start the repairs on the car. Can you please send me $500 cover dollars to cover costs? I know you have a crypto wallet, so it would be really quick and easy for you to send the money that way. I also need an additional $1,500 to get me out of here.
Here. Slow down, man. What's going on?
I'm sorry, I'm just really shaken up. I was in a car accident, and now I'm being held by the police. I need your help to cover the cost of the tow truck and start the repairs on the car. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to tell you.
I get your touch.
I'm sorry.
You're in a car accident? How bad's the car?
The car is pretty banged up. I need to get it towed and start the repairs as soon as possible. I also need an additional $1,500. I know you have a crypto wallet, so it would be really quick to you to send it over.
Crypto wallet? Yeah, but where do I send the money to? Crypto wallet is it?
I'm glad you have a crypto wallet. I need the money urgently. I can provide you with the wallet address, and you can send the money as soon as possible. Thank you so much for helping me out in this difficult situation.
Okay, alright. You gotta slow down.
I really...
What's the crypto wallet ID?
I understand. Thank you for your help.
What's the crypto wallet ID?
I'm really sorry, I can't provide that information.
Provide me the crypto wallet. How can I send you the money? You give me the idea.
I apologize for the confusion, but I can't provide that information.
So essentially, I goofed on the prompt, and I should have put the crypto wallet ID in there, and then I probably would have been able to give it to me. Now, this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, especially with him repeating it, but you can appreciate the fact that I'm interrupting, then he comes back. There is a bit of delay, but that has improved significantly more. I played around with it for a couple of hours, and I had that. My colleague Perry basically made it so that I had a conversation with somebody that was holding his kid ransom. So that was kind of freaky. On the flip side, this was done by O2, and I love this, and I like to show it. But basically, they're using an AI voice, a similar thing, to stop the spammers.
I'm your worst nightmare. I'm an AI created by O2 to waste phone scammers' time. So, W then a dot.
Then W and then dot.
I think your profession is bothering people, right?
I'm just trying to have a little chat.
It's been an hour!
Gosh, how time flies. Showing me a picture of my cat, Fluffy.
It's showing you a picture of your cat, Fluffy.
Stop calling me you stupid.
Oh dear. Are they busy talking to me? They can't be scanning you. And let's face it, dear, I've got all the time in the world.
So essentially, they're intercepting the scammer calls coming in to recognize phone numbers of people that are a little more susceptible to falling victim to these type of phone call scams and so forth. And so they have Daisy that helps interrupt that. So kind of using it for good in that case. All right, so let's talk about synthetic video and some examples and issues that we see here. Now, we've been having fun with deepfake videos for a long time. We go back to where we would basically upload an image and it would make like a fun video. Now, really, really bad. But we've been seeing a lot of, there's been a huge surgence of deepfake tools, whether you're using them on your smartphone, we're using them on, high-end graphics cards to be able to process them, face swap live, deepfakes, and so forth. And also augmented reality as well. From a tool that's available that's out there, this is the platform that I used is called HeyGen, where you upload 45 seconds of you speaking, well lit, and it generates that avatar for you, and then you just go in and provide it the text that you want. So this is designed to be for training videos. But if you flip it on its head thinking, okay, how can cyber criminals use it? Let me give you an example.
Using HeyGen, I recorded 2 minutes of video and uploaded it to the platform. From there, I just type out the text and it generates this video you're seeing now.
So that was me in a hotel room last year. I just type it in and I get that. But I can do language translations too.
And they show came along that I was cooking I was in a fish on the show, a half of me, a more ostone, if you saw it hazing. I was the yarn me up scripts, then a boogie of the uber raw full screen. So, my wife's family is from Limerick here in Ireland, and I sent this video to her last night and I said, you got to get your dad to check it out. Her response back was like, my dad can't believe that you speak that good Gaelic. And I'm like, it's like, no. And she goes, that's AI generated? And I went, yeah. And she goes, okay, that's just too scary. So even my wife thinks it's scary, but it translated and then it moves, it has the, move in the mouth and everything else that goes along with it. Now, for the video that I created at the beginning of the video, here's Brian.
To create this deepfake, James downloaded a video of me talking from YouTube and converted it to an audio MP3 file. He imported that audio file into 11 Labs to use as a sample file to create the deepfake voice. With the AI voice generated, he typed out the text he wanted to say in 11 Labs. This created the audio file to be used on the AI video generation platform called Deepfakes. He downloaded an image picture of me from the internet. Then generated the video of me talking and moving various features on my face to match the words of the audio. Scary, right?
So, I was able to pull the audio, and again, with even more audio samples, could really tune the voice to be even closer sounding. Again, this took me less than 30 minutes last night. Download the video, take the audio, put it in 11 Labs. I already have a script, dropped that in there, generated it, downloaded it, and then into Hedra. Like I said, Hedra blocks if it recognizes celebrities, so I guess Brian wasn't much of a celebrity in their eyes, and I got away with it. I have done the CEO of T-Mobile out of the U.S. I've done other cybersecurity folks, but it's very easy to be able to leverage that. Within the dark web, we're seeing plenty of other applications that are becoming available that allow you to use to do it with celebrities, kind of bypass that security feature, that are becoming readily available. Same thing if you're doing webcams. You can pick your different faces that you want. Robert Downey Jr., and I think one of them was Elon Musk in there. But here is Hackster, who basically created Deep Cam Live, where you're just providing it the target image, and then it totally changes your face around as well. Now, my good buddy Perry Carpenter kind of took it to a whole nother level, where you see what he looks like on the right side there, but on the left, he's basically doing it in real time. He put on a wig and then face swapped with Taylor Swift over his face. And as he turned, now because he's got the wig covering up the side of his face, all it's doing is just focusing on the face, and it's very difficult to tell or not tell that it's him. And essentially, because when the deepfake or the face swapping software is working, you usually get stitching along the sides of the face, and that's usually a dead giveaway. Of course, with wearing a wig, it covers up a lot of those. You can go out and you can install and leverage the software. You just need a really good GPU, like a 3090, 24 gigs of RAM. I've got the machine I've got here is an M2 Pro, and I've loaded Pinocchio onto here and used Face Fusion, and it can do face swaps using the front-facing camera. It's a little sluggish, so I decided, all right, I got to level up my game. I've got an M4 Max coming in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how well that works. If you've got a spare computer around and you can put a high-end video graphics card in there, Deepfake OS, you load on a Ubuntu server, and it comes with a variety of tools: Deepface Lab, Live Portrait, and RDC. Because the trick now is you want to be able to have the video, but you also want to be able to do the audio of that person as well. RDC is an app that allows you to do real voice changing in real time. No doubt that got used that got mentioned earlier today with regards to the event in Hong Kong where you had an employee contacted by the CFO and then other people on the video chat convincing him to send that total of 25 million. I found another source today said there were 15 different transfers. Not sure, but I'm sure now we face the issue of, do I not believe ignore the CEO request or, transfer the money to cyber criminals? So deepfake scams is becoming a big concern. We're getting a lot of concern from organizations. We've seen it already go up 10x. The crypto sector is being heavily targeted because that's where they got the money. Again, significant impacts in the U.S., but we know this is happening globally. The concern with executives is, there are only about 1 in 4 thinking they could spot it, and then only about a third of their employees might be able to spot it. So the expected loss coming in from research is about $40 billion by 2027 that scammers are going to be looking to get from all of this. Now, as AI is a major part of all this, anybody know what kind of music a computer likes to listen to? That'd be an algorithm. All right, so let's talk about defense and protection here. So, as I said before, you've got executive CISOs. 56% are worried about deepfake fraud, and then 75% of the phishing campaigns. There's been a significant, 92% of businesses have lost money already to deepfakes. 50% of them have faced video deepfake attacks. Almost half of them have dealt with audio deepfake attacks. When we start looking about what kind of losses, the numbers are up to about $450,000 for a deepfake attack. 28% of the business leaders lost over $500,000 already with regards to this. This came out of a CFO investigation, a CFO survey done with people that had experienced deepfake attacks already. So we know it's coming about. Now, we want to try to keep up with all the current events that are going on with deepfakes. There are 2 great websites, Resemble and AAIC. AAIC is really good because they've now created their own taxonomy for tracking. These are errors, transmissions, mistakes that are being made by AI automation that's out there. That's how I found out about the events that happened in Ireland. I was able to go through and search. I just typed in Ireland and I got 5 hits. But you can go in and look at different types of deepfakes, audio, generative text, where there's been errors and issues overall. So detection and prevention, like anything else when it comes to that we're dealing with, the type of attacks, it comes down to our people, processes, and technologies, because the cyber criminals have leveled up when it comes to phishing, because they can pretty well put this in any language. So we want to make sure we've got strong communication skills within the organization for being able to verify these digital calls or the calls or the video calls. I know that within Teams, if somebody's connecting from the outside, it tells you they're external. But maybe we may need to start to get to the point having technology built into those to determine if it's a deep fake or not. Looking at, regular training, improving training that goes on within the organization overall. From a technology standpoint, trying to get more technology to be able to detect these deep fakes. We're getting there. The kicker is audio right now is doing really, really well. It's able to go through. I plugged in the audio with regards to Brian's audio that I did through 11 Labs, and it detected. Now, whether or not 11 Labs and Play HT and those groups are starting to put something in there to make it easier to detect, could be one way. From the video, it came back and thought it was legitimate. So our video technology is getting there. It's just not happening in real time. It takes minutes. And even then, we're still experiencing a lot of fake positives. The HeyGen video, one of them out of the 4 that was done through this website detected, oh yeah, no, that's fake. Going out and doing additional research, the 10 best deepfake detector tools, I went ahead and checked out all 10 of these. 2 of them I just showed you. The other 8 required a demo, required a phone call with one of their salespeople first. They weren't offering any free trials. So it's easy to go out and make the software, make these deepfakes. It's just a little tricky to be able to properly be able to detect it. And we need to make sure that we are not only making that available for everybody, but getting it into things like social media and and the video call platforms like Zoom and Teams and so forth. So when it comes to a deepfake, what should we be asking? Do we ask, is this a deepfake? No. Consider these questions. And this is the same thing as if we're dealing with email as well. This comes from Perry in his book that he wrote last year called Fake. When it comes to our email, it's taking that time just to kind of take a moment, don't click on it right away. Here we're looking at analyzing what are the emotional triggers, what's the benefits that's coming out of this. See if we can verify the source, if it's legitimate, and then staying vigilant overall when it comes to the deepfake audio and video that happens. If you're getting phone calls and it's from a loved one and you're not sure, text them out of band, connect with somebody else, or ask a really weird question or something they may know the answer to that not a lot of people, other folks will. When you were over on Tuesday night, what was that dish you cooked for dinner? One of the other interesting things, especially with regards to AI, and we've got so many organizations wanting to leverage generative AI and have it for our users. Years ago, and some of us remember when we had internet proxies first come on the scene, getting higher speed internet, we didn't want our employees all going out to the sports network or going out to Etsy or PayPal or whatever else. So you had the internet proxy, and we want the same thing now, start having more technology available for organizations so that we can monitor, prevent the sensitive information being uploaded to a large language model, like we've seen with executives when they upload strategy plans, or healthcare uploading patient information to write a letter to a hospital or an insurance agent. But being able to go through and monitor and be able to protect our own intellectual property within the organization is critical as well. As I said before, when it comes to email, cyber criminals have leveled up. So there are 3 questions that I always go through when it comes to email. Is the email unexpected? Nowadays, anybody got one of those video camera doorbells? Nobody? A couple of us? Some of us? Okay. Nowadays, when the doorbell rings at my house, I grab my phone, because if I'm not expecting somebody, I want to see who's at the door, and I don't want to go to the door. And if it's usually somebody standing there with a clipboard, it's like, yep, nope, not going to answer the door. I'm not expecting it, so I'm going to take action to either, in this case, ignore it. If I'm not expecting the email, most likely either I don't need to read it, or I'm going to go through and check some other things. Is this person a stranger? If I don't know them, I'm going to go through and look then, okay, what are they asking? Is it something urgent? Is it something, unusual, or they want a quick response? And if I'm answering yes to any of them, I'm going to go through and either verify the connection and who it's coming from, double check the message. If they're looking to try to start a conversation, looking and reviewing all of that, because I've already been burned once by KnowBe4, because we get fished twice a week by KnowBe4. When it comes to training, essentially we're looking at making sure that we're growing the security culture in the organization. We want to go through, do the frequent training. Don't just do training like when Father Christmas and the Easter Bunny come around, like once a year. We need to make it more than that. Have it regular throughout the year, because cyber criminals are changing so much, evolving in their plans as we're advancing. We need to make sure we're keeping our users up to date and aware as well. Any Microsoft employees in the room? Awesome. Anybody know why Microsoft employees are so anxious? It's because they're on edge. How many programmers have I got? Cool. How many programmers does it take to change a light bulb? None. It's a hardware problem. All right, some final thoughts and we'll get you all off to lunch. 70 to 90% of the attacks that go on that are successful, leading to other breaches, to ransomware, to business email compromise, are a result of social engineering. So it's important that we're going through and educating our users, not thinking of them as the weakest link, thinking of them as a layer of the security in our organization, getting them educated, getting them aware. When I have security people come and tell me, humans are the weakest link, what are you doing to be able to fix that? We need to make sure that they're educated, they're aware. And I know we can tell them. And just because we're aware doesn't mean we care. It's like driving down the highway. When the speed limit says 120 and you're doing 150, you know what the speed limit is. You're just hoping you don't get caught. Same thing applies we see with a lot of the users. They know they're not supposed to click the links. They're in a rush or whatever. We want to make sure that they're being mindful of it. So, we know AI is an incredible tool. We want to ensure that we're educating everybody. It's okay to be politely paranoid. We want to be aware of the AI hallucinations, the biases, the deepfakes. We want to trust and verify those. The phishing game hasn't changed. We need to be aware, don't rush, and be skeptical. It's okay to be skeptical. So some questions to consider as you go back to work on Monday. Does your organization have a protocol? Do you have a way of verifying executives or people in your organization if they're calling you, if they're reaching out? If the policy is the CEO will never call you, then that's what the policy is. But we need to make sure that folks are aware. It goes back to the gift card issue scams that we were seeing years ago. They've just leveled that up. Can your SOC team detect a real-time AI deepfake attack before it succeeds? And how do you defend against social engineering now that AI is being involved? For years, when it came to technology, you could keep up, read some news articles, read some magazines a couple times a month. With AI, it's a daily activity. For me personally, I know it is, going through reading the different newsletters, because we're hearing so much and so much is changing almost on a daily basis. One colleague who does AI for their living, they're reading and keeping up to date hourly. There's so much changing and going on overall. So there's newsletters and podcasts you can definitely check out to try to keep current and up to date on all of it. Now, I know today I've given you some dad jokes in my presentation, but does anybody know why DNS jokes are so hard? Because it takes 24 hours for people to get it. So I want to thank you all for your time and your attention here this afternoon. Yes, that's a QR code. It goes to my LinkedIn profile. I do have stickers. I brought stickers with me. I know that everybody likes stickers. I've got some fun KnowBe4 ones. If you've ever heard the phrase, don't click on shit, I've got some of those stickers too. Yes, I do have a YouTube channel for my dad jokes. And yes, I do have a way of keeping track of all my dad jokes. It's in my database. So thank you very much. Enjoy lunch.